Hey guys, this is Dahmer's Cool Stuff here, and I have to look at it. This is the Top 3 Tuesday question, hosted by the Sega Stoner, featuring LegaiaRaSeru on EDT1138's channel. The question was RPGs you grew up with. Now, if I take this to the way the question is formed, there's only two, possibly a third. I don't own any of the games either, but the third one would have to be Dragon Warrior. I don't recall anybody who didn't have the game where I lived. Mainly, I think because it was actually free if you signed up for Nintendo Power for a year. So, Dragon Warrior definitely was, one of the games RPGs I grew up playing with. And it was fine. It was okay. It was moderate. Never beat it when I was younger. Then I was introduced to Final Fantasy I. And that was at a friend's house at a sleepover. And we played it all night. I don't think we got sleep. And I'm like 12 at the time, maybe even younger. And no sleep was had at all. And we just powerhoused through this game. And then we found that little cheat on the island with the 4 squares. And you get a really powerful creature that jumps up at you, like really overpowered. And you can do leveling up easy that way. And that was, and then a distant would be Final Fantasy III on the Super Nintendo, but honest truth, I only played that game when it came out in my childhood for a couple of hours, tops. So this is going to be a cut of me going to grab some games that I own for the second part of this question that I'm answering. Now this is the second part of the question that I'm answering. Grew up with. This is the 3 RPGs that I grew up with as a gamer. The first part of the question was answered when I was in my childhood. Yes, I played games, but there was not really any RPGs. RPGs weren't my thing. I think it was just because I'm too simple. They never appeased to me. And then the PlayStation 1 came around, and that's when they appeased me completely. And Chrono Cross. This game definitely influenced me in my that I grew up with. It basically showed me that RPGs don't have to be the traditional turn-based, and the storyline can be slightly ridiculous and still make sense. And RPGs could also have a wide cast of characters, plus the whole intermingling between the nemesis in the game and the hero is a very interesting concept and a very interesting way of presenting it. The final boss fight in this game, to beat it truly, is pretty cool. I will say that. But yeah, that was Chrono Cross. That was number 3. Number 2, Legend of Dragoon. Why has this game never got a sequel is beyond me. But it's one of those things that, maybe it doesn't need one. It's so revered and held in this mythic way that I honestly think if a sequel were to be released, it may be disappointing. Who knows? But this game showed me that you can have an active battle system for an RPG and still be turn-based, because you had the circles that closed in and you could do combos, and you could finish it off with a mega move if you timed your combos right. And this also had parts in the game where it wasn't random battles. If you ran into an enemy, you would initiate the battle, and if you avoided the enemies, you avoided the battles. So that was how this game influenced me, also breaking the mold. Now, the one game that I grew up in RPGs with, and this is the last one, is Final Fantasy IX. This got me back into RPGs, so to speak. I kind of glanced over 7, 8. 8 had a really great story. That pulled me back in, but playing 9 was just a breath of fresh air that sometimes when you make it as simple as possible, it's also the greatest thing ever. Plus, the story is really compelling, and I don't know, personally speaking, Zidane is probably the last great hero in the Final Fantasy franchise. Because after that, you had 10 and Titus, and then 12 with its Roman cast of characters. There was not real one hero. Van, who androgyny at its finest. Then 13 had another roaming cast of characters. So yeah, this game definitely showed me that sometimes it's good to go back to old school with sensibilities. So that was the top 3 games that I grew up as a player. And this is Dahmer's Cool Stuff. And as always, do good gaming.